I am a United States sailor, blah, 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 blah. Whatever brainwashy sailor's creed there is, honor, courage, commitment, all these buzzwords that the military presses down on the most junior recruit, but for some reason, four-star admirals, for some reason, can't follow the same rules, guidelines, and expectations and get slaps on the wrist, because that's how the game is played, ladies and gents. But let's dive into this because this admiral has officially been brought up on charges. That's because from 2020 to 2022, Admiral 4-star Robert Burke was an admiral who oversaw naval operations in Europe, Russia, and most of Africa and commanded thousands of civilian and military personnel. Young Chul, Charlie Kim, and Megan Messenger were co-CEOs of a company named Company A that provided a workforce training pilot program to a small component of the Navy from August 2018 through July 2019. The Navy terminated a contract with Company A in late 2019 and directed Company A not to contact Burke. I am curious who would have told this company not to contact Burke, because he's a 4-star admiral. You think he would probably have that leeway to say we can't do business anymore as those contracts are no longer. I think some of you guys can see where this is going as the insider inner workings. You know, politicians do this, but admirals are very close to that level and essentially can be caught up in similar situations. They say this is how it went down. Despite the Navy's instructions, Kim and Messenger then allegedly met with Burke in Washington, D.C. in July of 2021 in an effort to reestablish Company A's business relationship with the Navy. At the meeting, the charged defendants allegedly agreed that Burke would use his position as a Navy admiral to steer sole source contract to Company A in exchange for future employment at the company. They allegedly further agreed that Burke would use his official position to influence other Navy officers to award another contract to Company A to train a large portion of the Navy with value Kim allegedly estimated to be triple-digit millions. And I've read the indictment. You can check it out here. There's a lot of stuff that I will say that you can read. They were saying anywhere in the ballpark of $200 million. Now, on top of that, I did look up this training as well. It is titled in there what the title was for it. I cannot find it anywhere on Google. Must not have been that relevant or that big of a program. Like I said, it was a test pilot type thing. So I didn't see anything relevant on the interwebs about that. I do want to say that the release from this is actually on the Department of Justice that did release this, which did team up with Navy Criminal Investigative Services and other federal entities to bring this to light. So there was a lot of communication going on where people were like looking at the dots align. On top of that, the payout was kind of insane for a $200 million contract. He was going to get essentially pennies to be there. I'll tell you why, because it's what he's being paid is not even like a percent of that. Further indictment says Kim and Messenger offered and gave Burke solicited and accepted things of value, including employment at Company A with a yearly base salary of $500,000 and a grant of 100,000 stock options. And you're probably paying attention to the dates right now and you're saying, Nicky, that is 2021. Well, it's 2024 and it turns out Admiral Burke actually got the job and was hired. And with this entire thing, the indictment is saying some critical things as far as ethics goes, essentially because he was using a public office platform, his job as a commander of a region that's a 4-star admiral, which he would then use this to dictate personal gain, where he would obviously make money, and that's just base salary here. I don't know if there were any kind of bonuses intertwined with that as well. The indictment says, as alleged in the indictment, Admiral Burke used his public office and his 4-star status for his private gain, said U.S. Attorney Matthew M. Graves. The law does not make exceptions for admirals or CEOs. Those who pay and receive bribes must be held accountable. The urgency is at its greatest when, as here, senior government officials and senior executives are allegedly involved in the corruption. Now, I don't believe there's been a total of $200 million that have gone to this company, but it does appear they were kind of aware what was happening in the indictment, and they're citing this. Burke steered a sole source U.S. government contract to Company A. It says on November 16, 2021, Burke met with Kim and Messenger at Company A's headquarters in New York City. Describing the meeting afterward, Kim stated, "We're about to go full force back into business with the Navy, and Burke would aim to have a contract in place and signed before Christmas." Kim stated the contract would include in-person training to Burke's command in Naples, Italy, and Rota, Spain in early 2022. On December 16, 2021, Kim copied Messenger and emailed Burke, attaching a pricing worksheet that listed a total price of $413,500 for Company A's training, $213,500 for training plus $200,000 surcharge to give it in person in Italy and Spain. On December 17th, 2021, Burke ordered Person 2 to provide a contract to Company A to make sure the contract was in place by January 10th, 2022, and for it to be valued at approximately $350,000. Now, according to some of the sources in this document, it does appear as well that because there was a sake of speed or issue, they were looking to get back into business. They were looking to do this anyway. There were two companies, actually. There's Company A they reference, which they don't list. I've looked for that as well online, can't find that. However, Company B, which they don't mention either, specifically in this document, is that they would pretty much funnel to them, subcontract to Company A, and that's how they were trying to disconnect this as much as possible. And because of that, the 300-something thousand that was being funneled to Company A, the original company that he was intertwined with, only got around $250,000. Now, another thing is the Admiral 4-star, Admiral Burke here, that had went and did this, essentially has not much defense, I would say, in this, because he appears to have already routed or talked to people that were intertwined with ethics, as we all know that many of these admirals will work for government contract agencies, things like that, in order to go do something relevant to their job experience. And that is important because you do not want people having pretty much insider trading when this comes down to it. Obviously, they are advocates for the American tax-paying dollar and should not put favoritism out there for one company versus another. However, it looks like there has been signed documentation and things annotating this admiral did know what he was doing and was very well aware of that, and had actually lied on some of the information he actually did provide. That's because they say concealment and conspiracy. It says the conspiracy was concealed from the Navy through misleading and false statements and material omissions. It says, for example, on August 26, 2021, about 1 month after the defendants met in Washington, Burke sent the Secretary of the Navy a memo requesting voluntary retirement in May 2022. Burke also affirmed that he had read and thoroughly examined DoD Directive 5500.07R concerning pre- and post-retirement standards of conduct in employment activities, falsely implying that Burke had been and would continue to follow those standards. And it should be noted that he had sent this memo to the Chief of Naval Operations, and according to the document here, it is that he had said, I have intent to work with this company, but he'd already taken and accepted the offer per some of the evidence they have, which is not shown or listed here. And on top of that, that would mean he falsified his intent because he already did get the job and already accepted the offer. And I'm assuming there's court documents and things like that that will come out as far as evidence, maybe emails, text messages, whatever else. Now, looking at this entire thing, you're probably like, wouldn't this maybe have some kind of jail time, have something bigger impact that you might think would actually hurt, as somebody that was probably going to get like $17,000 something a month for the rest of his life, including maybe some VA disability, like hundreds of thousands of dollars most likely when it all came down to it. But you're talking about somebody that was going to probably go make millions. Now, because of this, I have to let you guys know, they're not even asking for anything crazy. I'm going to read the final part of this indictment where you're going to be like, that's all they want? Check it out. They say they shall forfeit into the United States any property, real or personal, which constitutes or is derived from proceeds traceable to these offenses. Pursuant to 18 uniform, all this other stuff, the United States will seek forfeiture money judgment against the defendants equal to the value of any property, real or personal, which constitutes or is derived from proceeds traceable to these offenses. However, they will say they won't touch them if they are already cannot be located, if they have been transferred or sold to a third party, if they've been placed beyond jurisdiction of the court, have been substantially diminished in value, or have been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty. I have to let you guys know, if a enlisted person even had like an inkling, or like a junior officer had an inkling of something like this in this bribery case that's going on, you would agree that they would have a career ender, right? This guy's not active anymore, but like there would be so much more punishment for this that I'm just like, it's insanity to me, because this is why people look at leadership where somebody that's a 4-star admiral is essentially not following any of the rules or regulations, and then we're expecting junior people to do that essentially for a payday. Like, we have ethics in the U.S. military where you can't even give people a gift for $20 or more. Like, that's a big no-no. So I'm like, and that's out of date without all the inflation stuff as well, where I'm just like, but people are going to do $200 million in deals and easily earn $500,000 plus as far as their compensation goes once they leave the military on top of their retirement and disability. So let me know what you think, because I know, as well as many of you guys know, this is not the first or last time. Sounds like this guy was just a little too close to the sun and got caught. But as always, if you guys like what I cover on the channel, hit me up as always down in the comments below, because that's where the conversation continues. And you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.